Tuesday here, placed in shelter with your host, Ryan Catarozoli. And believe it or not, this is episode 32. I thought that was pretty cool, though. 6 weeks we've been doing this. This is our 7th week. So quarantine update for you. Believe it or not, Chase won't be 2 until October, so he's about a year and a half. And I'm sure part of this has to do with having a big sister who uses the potty. But we always place him on the potty thinking, hey, he'll kind of start potty training a little bit early. Well, last night for the first time, and I don't know if this was just chance, I don't think he actually understood, but maybe I'm wrong, but he went to the bathroom on the potty. So that's pretty big news around here in the quarantine place. So hopefully Chase is a little faster than Tenley at potty training. That'd be great. The faster we can get him out of the diapers, the more money we're going to save. So with that quarantine update, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. We're going to get into today's episode. And today's episode, I'm going to call Portability and Care. So it's going to be a shorter segment today. I've gone through a lot of the different Hatco options that we have, but we do have a lot of portability options. And in fact, there's a whole section in the catalog labeled as portability. And once again, as you start digging into it, you learn that there's a few products in there that aren't necessarily portable. And we'll get to those near the end. So the other thing I want to do is talk about the care of these products, because oftentimes when you have products that can be moved, products that are put in shelves, taken out, put in catering vehicles and taken different places, they tend to take even more abuse than you would traditionally get in a kitchen, if you could believe that. But it's true. So I've got a bit of a care guide that we're going to go over to really show you how to take care of some of these things. Now, nothing that I'm going to talk about is going to be extraordinary. It's not going to really blow your minds. But believe it or not, we need to take some extra care on these. And some of the things that I point out, you're going to go, well, that's kind of stupid. Like, of course you should do those things. But they need to be said, because I'll tell you of some situations where they do exactly what they shouldn't be doing. And it leads to issues with the unit not lasting as long, and also having some issues that they may consider warranty. But when you have, I'll call it abuse to the piece of equipment, it doesn't fall in that category, and you end up in a bit of a battle. So it's better to say the things up front and make sure that we treat the pieces of equipment properly, so that way we get the longest longevity out of them possible. So starting out with our portability section, this here is an LW2, which is a Lampformer. Now, if you remember yesterday's episode, we had a GRFF, which was designed for French fries. It's in the Fry Station catalog. But again, we talked about the simple fact that it's an overhead strip heater. And then on the bottom here, where you have this shroud, when you put your hotel pans in there, you do create that air gap. So it treats it like an insulated area, and it does a really nice job holding food products warm. This is the same principle, except rather than using a strip heater, it's using 2 decorative lamps above it. So you're getting that projection from the bulbs. And if you remember the DL segment, you're getting about a 10-inch diameter that's radiating down onto the food product. So this is a great example for buffets, any kind of catering, being able to throw this into a catering vehicle and take it wherever you want. Heck, trade shows. Now, I don't know what trade shows are going to look like in the future, if you're still going to be able to have long lines waiting for free samples, but you see these at trade shows a lot. In fact, it's probably one of the most common pieces you see throughout people's booths, where they have several different products lined up around the counters. The next one is going to be our GRSR, which is going to be a round version of a heated shelf. Now, although we're going to show pizzas, this also shows you an example of being able to keep pastries warm. So what we're doing here is just using a blanket element in the bottom, thermostatically controlled, and it's going to give you a more decorative look to a traditional heated shelf. So that's basically what this one is going to be used for, again, with portability options. This comes in a 15, 17, or 19-inch diameter. So I think of it as a more decorative look. Followed up by that is the same thing, but with a Swan Stone. And again, the Swan Stone versus the traditional aluminum hard coat, you're not getting a huge advantage in terms of the quality of the hold, but you're getting a very different look. And especially if you're putting food product directly on these portable units, the Swan Stone material is a better looking material. You have 3 different colors to choose from. And again, it's also a food safe material, so you can put food right on it. You can wash it, you can sanitize it, and move on from there. Now, with that, the next item, this one here is everyone's favorite model number. This was created by Dan Frigo, and I believe it was his one and only opportunity to create a model number. Because of the size, nobody ever wants him to create another one. That is the GRSSR 16 DL 77516. Wow, that's a long model number. But in Dan's defense, if you've been in any of these classes before and happen to cover some of these different products, the model number doesn't leave anything to the imagination. It literally tells you exactly what you're gonna get, okay? GRSSR, Glow Ray Swan Stone Round, 16-inch diameter. DL, decorative lamp, shade style 775, and it's mounted 16 inches above the surface. So it really tells you exactly what you're gonna get. So although we give Dan some crap for it, it actually makes a whole lot of sense once you explain it that way. This is a great option, again, overhead heat combined with base heat. It's gonna give you a little bit longer hold, but at the same time, it's not a permanent unit, you're not building it in, and it can be easily moved, placed in a back room somewhere, and then always moved out when it needs to be in service. So that's what that one is right there. So now, let's talk about the real meat and potatoes today, and where I wanna get into some of the care as well. This is a GRS. Now, when you look in the GRS category, you're gonna have sizes that range from 24 inches, all the way up to 72 inches. So some of those aren't necessarily portable. Those are big units. And if you've been to HACO school before, you know that the answer to one of the trivia questions, perhaps the test at the end, is what size or weight requires 4-inch legs. And that is 36 inches or 80 pounds. And you might say, well, why? Why is that the cutoff? That's where they're considering the cutoff between it being a portable unit that you can easily lift up and clean underneath, and then not being an easily cleanable portable unit. So if it's larger than 36 inches or it's heavier than 80 pounds, you're gonna have to have 4-inch legs. Reason for that, easy to get underneath and clean it. Now technically, it comes standard, but you don't have to use the legs if you silicone it to the counter and therefore create a barrier from germs and other things to get underneath of the unit. But then once again, it really takes away from the portability aspect of it because it's now a permanent piece adhered to the counter. Following up with that is the GR2S, which is just the designer series. Now, one thing to point out, when you're looking at the difference between the GRS and the GR2, just like the other models, it's a designer look, right? It has the bull nose around it, it has the accent of color. But one other big thing to think about is you only have one depth on this unit. Whereas on the GRS units, you actually have 12 different depths. So when you see a GRS 36 and then there's a letter after it, that letter, whether it's an I, a J, a B, that tells you how deep the unit is. So the width is called out in the model number and the letter gives you the depth. So now, although this might give you a better design look, it doesn't give you nearly as many options as the regular traditional GRS does. Same thing goes for the GRSS, which is your Swan Stone version. You're only going to get one depth, and you're actually very limited on the widths of this unit. So, although you get a better look with the Swan Stone, and you can put food directly on all of them, when I'm looking at the GR2 and I'm looking at the GRSS, the look has to be the reason I'm buying it. If there's a particular size and dimension, I'm going to go with the GRS because it's going to give me exactly what I'm looking for. I'm not going to be trying to just make something fit because I like the look a little bit better. If I need the extra space, if I need the extra depth, that's what I'm going to be looking at is the GRS. So now let's talk about the care. And these are the pieces that I really want to talk about. When you have a portable unit, you have all sorts of things going on here, right? When you talk about cleaning it. Now, I have an official document that we created for one of our customers because we were having some issues with it, okay? Now, there's a few additional accessories that can come with our GRS units, and that is these three major ones. Number one, a thermostat guard, okay? Very simply put, where you would normally have your thermostat where you're adjusting temperature, it puts two flanges on the other side so it can't be bumped, hit, changed very easily. You have to, purposely go in and change the temperature. And as you're moving it around, it protects that dial from getting hit, whacked, banged, whatever you want to call it. The second thing is a heavy duty cord grip, because believe it or not, these things are oftentimes pulled and yanked by the cord because they're portable. They're not fixed in place. They're constantly being moved. And the last thing is the moisture seal. Now, I want to point out a couple of these on here. Number one, do not submerge or saturate with water. The unit is not waterproof. Although I just mentioned that there is a moisture seal option to help prevent some of that, this unit is not waterproof. And believe it or not, I have seen people or heard stories of people taking it by the cord and putting it in a 3-compartment sink to clean. Now, maybe not necessarily submerging it underwater, but even just spraying it down with the overhead water, that is going to be too much water for this unit. And what happens is, even with the moisture seal, the water finds its way in. And you know what's on the inside of this? Insulation and electrical wires. And what happens to that insulation when it's in a tight-knit closed cavity? It doesn't dry very easily. It swells up with moisture. And as soon as that moisture hits somewhere on that line where you have electricity running through, it's going to short the unit out and it will no longer work. There's no really coming back from that. And when you start talking about servicing these, you see on here, there's no user serviceable parts. You have to have a professional come out. And a lot of times when you look at the overall service charge for a trip charge and replacing the entire guts of a unit, you're actually less expensive going out and purchasing a brand new one. There's another one on here I want to point out. Do not lift the unit by the power cord. So even though we can put a heavy duty cord grip on there, it is still not giving you permission to carry it by the cord, especially as you get into the larger units, but still, even with the smaller units, do not lift it by the power cord. And then we talk about some of the different abrasive cleaners and things like that. If anybody wants a copy of this document, I have left it up for a decent amount of time here on the video, so you can always screenshot it. But if you want an official document, please, I can send it out. We can send it to any of our customers. If we follow these guidelines, and I know some of them are very, very obvious, this will give you a longer longevity and a better performance on your pieces of equipment, especially when we're talking about portable pieces. Anybody have any questions on the portable options that we have here? I'm not seeing them come up, so let's go ahead and bring up everyone's favorite part, and let's talk about our memes for the day. All 3 of these came in from Charlene Brennis. I'm telling you, she is the meme source for appropriate memes for this show. Here's the first one. Lockdown can only go 4 ways. You'll either come out a monk, a hunk, a chunk, or a drunk. Choose wisely. Right about now, I think I'm the latter 2. I'm going for chunk and drunk at the same time. And this one might be one of my absolute favorite ones that I've seen. And it says, we're halfway through May, and every day is Monday, and the time is either light or dark. Because right about now, nothing else really matters. And the last one for today, there's nothing like a little tomato soup to soothe the soul, even if it's cold, over ice, with a celery stalk, and lots of vodka. So I thought that was a good one too. Let's check chat here. Anything else? No, we are good. So that's going to wrap up today's episode. Remember, tomorrow I've got a really, really special episode. I'm telling you, you're going to absolutely love the guests that we have coming on. I'm not going to steal the surprise right now. We're going to wait until tomorrow, but don't miss it. If you are joining on YouTube and want to catch us live, 3 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday, you can always use the link in the description below. If you are subscribed to Hacko, hit the bell notification. That'll let you know every time one of our videos goes live, and show us that you're enjoying the content by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.